Good afternoon or good evening, y'all. It's the Humble Hustler Podcast. We back at it on a Monday, 5:30 to 6:30. We like let everybody know that we on all the platforms, Humble Hustlers. Like, share, and subscribe. It's your man Big O, and we here today. We're gonna talk about gun violence in America, and do we need reasonable legislation, to regulate the guns that's available in our communities. So what's on your mind, C-No?
First, I want to say what's up, Raven Nation, Humble Hustlers. We in the house. You know me. I gotta make sure when we win, y'all know we win. When we lose, I ain't gonna let y'all know we lost. But it's the same token, you know what I mean? How y'all doing out there?
Everything reversed today. Last week it was him all super down and me all super excited. We won, they lost. This week it's a reverse. It's a reversal. He all super excited and I'm down because they won and we lost. So he representing the Ravens, but I'm always gonna represent the Broncos. But more importantly, today's topic is a significant and important topic because it's something that we need to deal with and address in our everyday activities. As we walk through the streets, as we travel through the streets, we're conscious of the violence, not just in our community, but just the violence in general. And so we're aware of gun violence and we stay on our toes just to make sure that we don't become victims of it. And in addition to that, we've had some recent domestic violence, well not domestic violence, I apologize, domestic terrorism, where they've actually utilized guns, high-powered rifles, to actually get their message across. So that's why we came up with the topic today, gun violence, and do we need reasonable legislation to regulate the guns that's on the streets? So what's your thoughts on regulating guns, in the Fifth Amendment? I think it's the Fourth Amendment, your right to bear arms.
Me being on both sides of the field, me being on in the maze and out the maze. And when I mean in the maze, I was in the midst of the gun violence, and I lived the gun violence firsthand. And being now that I'm outside the maze, and I can look in and see the nonsense and the other gun violence. So I mean, I think some of the stuff should be legislated, and some of it shouldn't, because some people need firearms.
Yeah, well, it's a basic right, according to the Constitution, the right to bear arms, and once you've been convicted of a crime, that's one of the rights that you actually lose. But they restored voting rights, so hopefully at some point they'll get to the point where they'll restore gun rights to return to citizens. But I'm in agreement with you as well. There are some people that absolutely, positively should not have a gun or access to a gun. But I also believe that there are some people that should have the right to protect themselves, especially with we've had crime decrease in our community here recently. We've had significant historical decreases in crime, but still it's present and it's prevalent. And so with that being said, I think that you should have had the right to protect yourself. Somebody come to your house in the middle of the night, you should be able to send them back out in a pound box the way he's supposed to go out. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But what do you think about the domestic terrorism that's occurred? They had the event. The dude Charlie Kirk got shot, and then he had the people up there in Minnesota. They got the husband and the wife. They got shot in their home.
Well, sometimes not the lady and the husband got shot in their home. That's why I say some people need to bear arms, because you have to be able to protect yourself when you're at home. Mm-hmm. But outside the home, you might have to put legislation in, because you need firearms to protect yourself. And the situation that happened last week with the European that got shot in the neck, a lot of people were in agreement with it, a lot of people in disagreement with it.
Right.
So it goes one hand on the other, because they say what goes around comes around.
Right.
And like, he was sowing a lot of hate And he was also saying that it was all right to do domestic terrorists because he never thought he probably would be a part of it.
Right, he never thought that he would be a victim of it. He never thought that the very the stuff that he was trying to provoke and was an advocate for would actually turn around and bite him in his butt. It's kind of like sort of kind of like the chicken come home to roost.
Yeah.
You know, but that's what Elijah Muhammad was talking to Malcolm X about when Kennedy got killed. And that's why he asked him not to speak on it. Because he was saying that that Malcolm came out and he said that the chickens came home to roost. So I guess that's the instance of that as well. You know, all the hate. You know what? Just the rhetoric that he spewed. That it actually the violence actually came back. When the chicken came home to roost.
But I must say though, I'm glad that it wasn't a black on white crime because it would have started a civil war, and inside the United States because people are on the edge looking for something right now to start something.
Yeah, I agree. Well, that's because of the commander in chief. He kind of stokes and blows those kind of that kind of combustible language that he used when he's talking about different nationalities of people. It causes that kind of the rift or that division that we thought that was disappearing or that we thought was gone.
Right.
It's actually just as prevalent as when our grandparents was here, just in a different fashion. And so it's kind of alarming at this point with the way that people they don't. But you know what? I don't. You mentioned something about you're glad that it wasn't black on white crime. The only time that we ever hear anything about that kind of crime is like when it's black on black. We never hear white on white. We never hear Asian on Asian. We never hear that. You never hear that about other nationalities. You know what I mean? You never hear like white on white crime.
They push that under the rug.
Right, but you always hear in the news. You'll always hear about black on black crime. So is that even real, or is that just something that the media just made up? Just to.
But the media gonna emphasize black on black crime because that's what sells. They like to sell negativity, and they want us to be looked at in a negative light. And so if they say it's black on black, then a lot of people just don't give a no more.
Yeah, but I'm glad that the suspect, we are proven, we are innocent until proven guilty, technically in this country. But you and I know that you're guilty until proven innocent. So I'm just happy that the person that was the alleged suspect wasn't black.
True.
And I don't want to see. I don't find any joy in anybody's misery or in anybody's death, despite the fact that they may have views that's different from the views that I share, and maybe even say some negative things about our particular ethnicity. But still, I wouldn't want to see nothing like that happen to them. And with that being said, they talk about the black on black crime, and I'm just happy that he wasn't black, because we already everything in the book, and John Muhammad put the terrorist thing on our back, him and Lee Malvo. So I was just hoping and praying that this particular suspect wasn't a black suspect, because they was already on the internet talking about this is war. And so when I was saying that, I was trying to figure out well, who the hell are they going to war against?
Right.
And so now I really had a question for them, who the hell they going to war against, because it was a white man. See, initially they thought they was trying to stoke it like it was something black or it was another ethnicity. But when they found out that was their own, we don't even hear it's going to be war crime no more. You know what I mean? So what was your feelings about? Did you see that on the internet when they was doing that initially?
But when
the guy Charlie Kirk got killed?
When I heard they had apprehended him, I already knew they was white. Mm-hmm. Because if it was with a black person, they'd have gunned him down. He would never been apprehended. Right.
Well, we can always tell if the suspect is black or white, according to if they was alive or not when they apprehended him.
So that showed me that it was one of their own kind. And when they said they had apprehended him and found out he was a 22-year-old European, that was kind of shocking, but it wasn't shocking And then when when you do his background, he was living with a transgender. So when he was living with a transgender, which they say was his lover, he was already spewing the hate to her anyway. Her, the shim, he shim, she him, whatever it was. But at the same token, you know what I mean. So it's probably the radical views that he had towards the letters LGBTQ. You know, so that probably sparked it all. But they ain't saying that because they don't want no copycats.
Who was living with a transgender? The young man. Okay.
The shooter. So when Trump was telling them that they probably had to turn their names back in and identify as a male,
And then they
which
gonna
was born as, and then identify as.
Yeah, and he said he was going to. I think he was saying he was trying to come up with some legislation to avoid their marriages and stuff.
Yeah.
So he basically really like all the stuff that Obama did. He's doing everything that he can in his power.
Who's shot?
He's doing everything in his power to undo all
Obama
the stuff
did.
that Obama did. And one of the things that one of the major planks in the when Obama was president.
And them people fought for a long time for them rights.
Yeah, and Obama, he put it in effect. He made it where they were eligible to get their partner's pension when they passed. The partners.
I said, who? I mean, who did it?
Obama did it.
I ain't say it. I didn't say it. I mean,
Man, you can't beat your man. He was the first.
I didn't say
He
it.
was the first sitting president to visit a federal prison, man.
Wow, whoop-de-doo.
Well, whoop-de-doo.
Wow.
Yeah, he was though.
There's so many things
mean,
to hold
he
in
did-
right now.
I mean, with everybody, it's some good and bad with everything, especially it's a real sensitive topic when we start to talk about Obama because there's some things he did good.
And then I say he did bad.
Absolutely. And one of the things I don't want to get off subject a little bit. But one of the things that he always championed is that how he changed the federal sentencing guidelines and released some people a little early as a result of the Warren Commission. But that stuff.
He did that?
Yeah, he did that.
No, he didn't.
Who did that?
Obama ain't do that.
Who did it?
He said he was going to do that. He ran on doing that, but he didn't do it. When he got in, he did contrary to what he said he was going to do it his second term. Then when the second term came, he didn't do it either.
So how did it come in effect if he didn't do it?
The next president did it.
Who Trump?
Yes.
You was home before Trump, bro.
No. Who, me?
Yeah.
No.
Yes, you was.
No.
All right, bro.
Anyway, like I was saying, right, that he was
Right.
supposed to. I was in there when my partner went on his desk and he didn't sign it.
But I ain't talking about pardons. I'm saying he changed the sentencing guidelines according to the
He didn't change the sentence guideline. Well, I'm gonna check it in. I know he didn't, but I'm gonna double check it and bring it back later.
All right.
But
That was the reason why he visited the federal. That was the reason why he visited.
Yeah, because he was running for his second term, so he was visiting the federal
He was
prison.
already in.
He was visiting. Yeah, he was gonna run for a
He
second
was
term.
already in as the second president.
And he was trying.
He was
to act like.
he was trying to drum up the publicity to do what he did because the Warren Commission has been in effect. Their results was over 20. Well, that could be another show.
Yeah.
But the Warren Commission, their results was they've been in effect over 25 years. They knew that when they started the war on drugs back when they were senators under Joe Biden. The Warren Commission was saying that there was a difference in the sentencing as a result of the form of the drug that you were selling. Well, that'll be another Monday, the crack and the powder, when they had the sentencing disparities. Yeah.
But anyway, I want to shout out to my man Dreadlock Mike. He called me and told me about his gun violence over the weekend, and I want to get back on the topic because some gun violence is senseless, and I think if I'm not mistaken that he might be still paralyzed from his last shooting, but he goes around and speaks on gun violence, and he asked to be a guest on the show. We wanted to get him in on a part 2 of this show to get him in because he had a lot to say because he lived it. And now he's still living.
That's the guy that was meeting up with the guy that shot him.
Yeah.
They were supposed to have a meeting, and he said that he was going to help him be a better person, even after he shot him and he was paralyzed.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we definitely want to get him on here.
So yeah, because Dreadlock Mike, he went from both sides of the field. He went from being in the streets to being fed and scamming people and doing what he do in the streets to getting shot. And paralyzed and laying in the bed. And so now he lived to tell a story about it because the law has blessed him to have a second opportunity. I also wanted to say that gun violence statistics says in 2023 there was 47,000 killings by guns. 17,000 was homicide. 26 and some change was by suicide. So if you do the math, it ain't all what people always say about the gun violence. Because the suicide is the most prevalent gun violence that's happening nowadays, and that goes back to depression that we had before.
Yeah, they show about depression and coping with depression symptoms. You got something you want to add, Ms. V?
Yes, I wanted to add that. So you're both actually right. Technically, Barack and Donald Trump changed the sentencing guidelines. Barack changed the
Correct.
first thing he changed the mandatory minimum sentence on cocaine. Yeah, and then
And when Donald Trump came and cleaned the rest of it.
he cleaned the rest of it up. So Donald Trump did the rest. I just thought I would look it up and let y'all know. Miss S.B. Hope, she said had a few things to say, but while I got the chance, I'm gonna read some of her stuff. She said all gun control is based on racism. She's over on YouTube. They weren't concerned with changing them until we started carrying them. She came back to say the gay agenda is a multi-million-dollar industry. There are now more weddings, receptions, and other events. Politicians were receiving donations from businesses that would benefit from its passage.
And that's the reason why. That's the reason why Trump is trying to overturn it, and that's the reason why the shooting happened. Because, like I said before, they fought hard for them gay rights.
Yeah.
Obama looked out for the gay people to make sure they get the rights, and they're not going to sit around and allow people to just take them without a fight.
Yeah, and
Well, I wouldn't.
Well, they shouldn't. I mean, I'm not a part of that community, but I'm just saying.
I hope you're not.
No, hell no.
No.
No dirty. No, but what I'm saying is, since they, for them, those rights benefit them, and so I guess, people probably get a little upset, but I guess that we could, for us when we looking at it, I guess we could kind of attribute it to like, for civil rights.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they was talking about, like when they get to talking about taking voting rights and taking certain rights that we, our ancestors fought for. Certain things make us stand up as well. Like, nah, we ain't going for that. So I guess they sort of kind of.
It's not even sort of kind of. It's definitely the same exact thing.
Well, I wouldn't know because I can't think like them. So I'm just trying to like.
And that's why I'm trying to kind of build it for you.
Put my as a level of empathy, like for as best I can, like to try to see it from their vantage point. But for some vantage points, we don't want to see it. We don't even want to be
right, and I get it, but the thing is, you got to look at from that community standpoint. They have been even murdered for just somebody think that you walk wrong, or they went through a lot of things, so they earned the right to fight for what they want. Now the thing is, if they say it's illegal, then it's illegal, and they got to fight for that. But they got it, so why we bashing them about it?
I'm not bashing them.
No, I'm just saying,
saying
not
people
us.
do.
Like, why are people posting and concerned? Yeah, because a lot of people have been posting and concerned about it. I don't understand.
I'm a strong believer that their sexuality or the sexual preference has nothing to do with me.
Right.
I can do business with them. I can speak to them, be cordial with them.
Exactly.
But as long as you don't infringe on my manhood, then it's
Right.
something different.
Right.
As long as you're respectful.
Yeah.
Like I could care less what you do.
Yeah.
Behind closed doors.
Exactly.
And I mean,
open doors.
And for the most part, it'll just be professional business anyway. You know what I mean? Not saying that I can't be friendly.
Yeah, your sexual preference has nothing to do with it.
Somebody's, that got a different sexual preference, but I mean that what they do doesn't concern me.
Yeah.
It's just I have attorneys that I deal with, that I think are gay. I don't know. I didn't ask them.
Yeah.
But they act a little different. But just because you act different don't mean that you are with a person. So it could be just my blinders or my screeners or my perceptors.
Right.
When I see certain behaviors, and he may not be that at all.
Yeah.
I can recall, just growing up, not to get off the subject though, people have like certain high-pitched voices.
And you look like,
Yeah, yo, gay. And the whole thing, he wasn't gay, just he had a high-pitched voice though. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the thing
So
is just
another thing
fighting
is,
for what you want in your life.
guns don't kill people. People kill people.
Right.
Right.
Because the guns don't shoot themselves. People shoot the guns.
Pull
Right.
the trigger.
So that goes back to the state of mind of the person who has the intent for violence or depression state of violence. So you got different things can trigger different situations. And that's the reason why we was always on the last podcast was talking about critical thinking also, because critical thinking will help you make a decision whether I'm gonna pull that trigger or I'm not gonna pull that trigger.
Mm-hmm.
And good conflict resolution skills, because a lot of the gun violence that occurs today is a result of having poor conflict resolution skills. Like that's their only go-to, today. And then it goes to another one of our previous podcasts when we talk about self-esteem. A lot of the reasons why they have, I guess we can go to all our previous podcasts. We can talk about communication, poor self-esteem, the inability to resolve your conflicts in a healthy manner, or just having other options. And I think that's why some of what we see occurs today, because one of the things that's so particular about today that in our day, like the person that told was not the person that killed you. They was two different people. But today, that could be the same person.
Yeah.
The same person that'll kill you, the same person that'll tell on you. And I've seen a couple instances where somebody went and shot somebody, they ain't do what they supposed to do. That person came back and shot them. However, the first person who shot first went to court and pointed the second person out. And he's sitting there like, oh my God, you shot me first, you started this.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not a proponent for violence. I mean, but violence begets violence.
Yeah.
You shoot me, you don't kill me, you think I ain't gonna come back and shoot you?
Leroy said that it's construction. It starts with the construction of the house, and you can't blame it on a single parent either. I don't think it's blaming on a single parent, because a single parent can really have a child on a straight path. Because if you look at my kid, well, not kids, because I always say don't use kids. That's a joke. But if you look at if you look at my son had a single parent, but he don't have no tendency to violence and none of that.
Right.
So it can be done.
Yeah, it absolutely.
It's just the structures that you put down in the home.
Yeah, and it's just a matter of risk. Just because you come from a single parent, it doesn't mean that you're gonna be anything. But what it does is it puts you at risk, more risk or more probability than a person that comes from a two-parent household. And then likewise, we've had some friends that come from two-parent households that was worse than us, and we come from a single-parent household. So
I don't even think the household make the difference.
Well, I do think the household makes a difference. I think
when you get introduced to the streets.
I think the family make the difference.
I think the household does make a difference, and I think it's just a matter of the other environmental factors that go along with the household, because they far outnumber the household. Once you step outside your house, you have far more pressures environmentally that's placed on you than any pressures that's placed on you by your parents in your home. You understand? Like the pressures that, when we was growing up, the pressures that's placed on us, that, the consequence was an ass whipping. You know what I mean? The consequences in them streets, man, could be death. You know what I mean? So, like, the pressures outside the homes are greater than the pressures inside the home. And I'm even talking about in reference to influences. You know what I mean? Some of our friends had greater influences on us than our parents did.
That's always the case.
When we look at our own, individual personal situations, like sure we were stand up guys, 10 toes down, and for the most part we was leaders, but I'm sure that if we did an evaluation, we could go back and see some instances where, our mom might have told us like, he's not a good person for you to hang out with, but we ain't pay her no attention. And later on in life, as we grew and matured, we found out, we look back, like in hindsight, well, mom knew what the hell she was talking about. That wasn't a good person for me to hang out with. But it just, at that time, the influences was just a little stronger than the pull that our parental influences had on us. And so as a result, That's why we found ourselves in some of the situations that we found ourselves in, and got, today we returned to citizens.
So like me coming from both sides, being shot and have shot, so and being in a single parent home, and at times was in a double parent home.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I go to my father, he with his wife and
Right,
her.
that's-
So I'm in a double house.
Right.
And when I come home on the single house
Right, mom.
and being shot and shot somebody,
Mm-hmm.
I basically got all angles of the scenario.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't that it was because of the household situation.
Mhm.
It was because the streets raised me.
Right,
I allowed to take on the attributes of the street
right.
because I
That's the
thought the
difference.
streets was more geared to being my family than my family being my family.
Right.
If
And
you understand.
Yeah.
And I took my friends as being more my family than
Then my family.
than my family
Yeah.
because I could go to them for anything. I couldn't go to my family for
For
anything.
anything. Yeah.
So it was like, well, maybe I probably could have went to my family,
Yeah.
But they ain't do it.
but I didn't know, or I didn't trust the situation to go to them for
So
anything.
you went to them.
Because because you know how people is, you see little things that you think you seen, but you might not have seen. Because
Right.
we as a person can trick our mind into believing whatever we want to see.
Yes.
Yeah.
So something might have happened over there, and we believe something happened that never happened,
Mm-hmm.
and it turns us off towards people that
Never did
it
wrong.
never did nothing wrong to us. So
Right,
with,
that's
but in the
it.
streets, by a person giving you a gun, by a person going with you to do some violence, you think they love you, but they may do love you, but they're
They just ain't loving you right.
right, or the thinking process ain't in the,
Right,
in the
right,
right
right.
In the right
perspective to
place.
guide you in the right direction.
What's that buzzword?
Pride.
Priorities. Their
Priorities.
priorities ain't in order.
Their priorities ain't right.
Yeah, and as long as as long as we keep that central, like our priorities, then for the when you're a stand-up person, like for now, it's nothing that nobody gonna tell us that's that's gonna have us endanger ourselves to the point where we're gonna be taken away from our family.
Right.
It's gonna have to be something life or death. It'll be nothing even close to some of the stuff that we was gonna go for when we was kids.
Right.
Or when we was children.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
But some of the stuff that we was on go for when we
You
was
know what?
younger,
Right.
and we didn't even, it wasn't even a second thought. It wasn't even an evaluation. It wasn't even, we didn't even
Not
think
a
twice
hesitation.
about it. I know for me, when, I caught my charge as a result of somebody else. You know what I mean? If we were together, the dude said he robbed him earlier. It really didn't matter if he did or didn't because we was together. And that's how it is in the streets. If y'all together, y'all together. Y'all go down there. Like if it's like 8 dudes and it's you and your man gonna get beat up together. Ain't no one person gonna get beat up and the other person running.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, that's just how we live. And it wasn't until we grew and matured and we start putting out priorities in order that we understood that some of the stuff that we prioritize and that we were quick to address, that we was quick to be there for, is some of the stuff that we shouldn't even have been in attendance for, let alone been present.
Everything you buy from the store come with instructions, and when you take it out the box, you only got an instruction panel, a manual how to put it together, what it's used for. But we the only people that's in a game that we open up and don't got no instructions.
Yeah.
There's no rules to the street game. So if there's no rules to the street game, you're making your own rules as you go along. So of course you're going to make mistakes because there's no manual to put it together.
Right.
And so what happens was, we went into the street listening to somebody else's rules,
Right.
their principles,
Yeah.
their understandings, and we adapted them even though we knew they was wrong.
As if they was, well, we didn't know they was wrong.
We didn't know they was wrong.
Initially we didn't.
Then as we got older, and like I got older, and as I sat back in the prison cells for decades after decades after decades, and realized that the rules they gave me was the rules that didn't even apply to the game I was playing.
Yeah.
So I was playing Monopoly when I could have been playing chess,
Mm-hmm.
and realized I threw away 40 years of my life
Mm-hmm.
with some rules in a game that didn't even have no rules. I should have never been playing in the first place
Why you didn't even
because
you
it
didn't
wasn't
make-
even my critical thinking.
Yeah, you ain't even make the rules up. Matter of fact, we wasn't even using no thinking. We wasn't thinking at all.
Right.
Because had we been
You were just
had
existing.
had we been thinking just a little bit,
You probably would have thought that.
we probably half of what we involved ourselves in, we probably wouldn't even have been involved in.
Yeah, because a lot of times they say, we don't think for ourselves. They come in and, come on, you'll get the guns. What are you going to do?
Right.
You never think about what we going to do. You go,
Yeah,
all right, let's go.
We just go to
We
do
on
it.
it.
We go and do it.
We
This
on
my man.
He did what?
He came
said
and got me. Half the time, we never even found out what occurred.
And then
We found out what occurred afterwards.
After
Like
the fact.
after we done what we did, and we sitting there, we chilling, we trying to calm our nerves. Because if you say you did something and you ain't had no nerves, you just, I don't know who you is. But as we sitting there, we trying to calm our nerves, and we going through, you know, what just happened. Then that's when we actually find out why he even came and got us. Because we not questioning our man.
And you say you shouting for that?
That's what we went up there for. That's what we went up there for.
That's when we was like, yo, you really came and got us to bring the guns out for that. But initially, we not evaluating that.
We're
not
saying,
evaluating that at
what
all.
happened. We're not saying, hold up, what happened?
Right,
Tell me what happened. Maybe I can go talk to the guy.
right,
But I didn't learn them coping skills until I got in prison.
yeah,
Because when I got in prison, there's a lot of politics and gang stuff going on and all that. And a lot of times, by me running the car, as old say,
right,
a lot of things had to be sanctioned by me before it get done. And so when they come to me and tell me what happened, I'm like, ho, that don't sound right. How do y'all get to that? But if
Right.
I'd have did that in my earlier years,
right.
then I wouldn't been sitting where I'm at making the
You
decisions that I'm making now.
kept blowing the yard.
So I'll be like, when he come tell me something, I'll be like, well, let me go talk to him. Because he might not meant what he meant. And then if I get a different understanding,
Right.
then we can go do what we do. But we're not just going out here and blow the yard every time something happens.
No.
Right.
And so that's how I learned how to think better, process the
moment.
situation.
Well, you ain't start thinking better. You start thinking because we wasn't thinking
At all. Yeah.
We wasn't
Nobody
doing no
really
thinking
think when
when
they're
we was
younger.
young. But let me just pose a question like about Trump talking about bringing in like you know, like a federal takeover for a little bit and then bringing in the national troops, the National Guard. Like what's your thoughts on that?
Me, I kind of agree and I disagree. So I can agree to disagree because a lot of time, some people don't understand nothing but violence. And so that's the mindset of our youth today, that they don't understand nothing but strength. And so if you come in and clean it up and get right back out, meaning like the situations like today, we coming up to the program, to the podcast, we at a stop sign, there's a car in front of us, he talking to his men and them, but he don't want to get out the street, but it's 4 parking spots over there.
Right.
Well, you could have parked on the side and talked to your man and let the cars go through.
Right.
But you want to make it more complicated for everybody because you thinking that you tougher than everybody.
I'm just sitting right
But
here.
when we rode through that stop sign, we both looked at each other and said, we done grew and matured.
Yeah, because we didn't say nothing. We just said,
We ain't
"Man,
say
wait."
nothing.
Just
We ain't
waited.
say nothing because at one time,
Man, get your dumb ass out.
now that probably been the only thing we said.
It would have escalated.
And then
Yeah.
as soon as he looked, we wouldn't even wait for the response. The whole car would have been blew up,
Yeah.
you know. But you know, we sat there. We did get a little agitated, but we was patient, waiting for him to move. That's the same way like when we was at the gas station that day.
But
I see you getting a little ass. I was like, nah, let's get on out of here. Let me think for you.
You
we
better out here, man,
we better blew the yard out uptown.
Because y'all not kids.
But
Exactly.
But you got to be careful.
Children.
You have to be careful when you bring the National Guard in. And what I mean by being careful
Yeah.
is because when you run one click off a street corner that been on that corner for 2-3 years and move them to another corner, you escalate violence.
Right, because you moved into
Because
somebody
then you
else's
move into
territory.
somebody else's territory. That could cause, you clean that problem up, but you cause another
A problem
down
over here.
So now you got another, because they ain't letting anybody come on any corners.
Yeah.
Right.
And so they got to sell their stuff somewhere too. Because guess what? The government is selling it in the country and selling it in the cities as well. So if you giving it to them, what do you think they're going to do with it? They got a bill to pay the government.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you bring in the National
I
Guard,
like
you causing a bigger problem.
So,
That's why I disagree.
I get it.
Well, I disagree because I don't think we need the National Guard, to be quite honest with you. I don't even think we need any additional policing because, I mean, if we go by the statistics,
Crime is going down.
and I'm not just going down, historic lows.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know, numbers that we ain't seen in quite some time.
Homicides almost on the 200, man.
Yeah, and the man said give him 5 years. He said it. He said I'm gonna decrease them. And initially, I think he said something to the nature of 15 to 10% each year, and it didn't. His first, initially it wasn't going so well, but it seems like the things that he has in place, a lot of the credit is going to Ivan Bates. He deserves some credit. It's a team. You got the mayor, you got the chief of police,
Yeah,
and
that's
then
how it works.
and then you
Governor,
got and then you got the state's attorney. So it's a team. So it's not no one particular person that should be given the credit. Just like when it's not working, it's not no one particular person that should be given the fault, unless
right.
they not they not amicable, or they don't want to talk about solutions to the problem. They're a team. So I think some of the things that the mayor done put in place, I think with Ivan Bates coming in place, and some of the things that previously wasn't being prosecuted are being prosecuted, I think there's a little misconception with that as well, because when Marilyn Mosby was in there, it wasn't like people was committing homicides and attempt homicides and they weren't being charged.
Mm-hmm.
She just wasn't. She wasn't prosecuting like
Low offenses.
like they call them quality of life. Like, for instance, if the police rode past the alley and you were urinating in the alley, and they, she wasn't prosecuting those type of offenses. But I'm not here to be a proponent or for or against her, because that got a little muddled, because it wasn't like somebody was a homicide suspect and she's like, oh well, I'm not prosecuting them.
But they say if you ain't with us, you against us.
Pretty much, and our black women, they got it pretty much really, really difficult. No matter what they say, they got it difficult at home dealing with us. They say they got it difficult on the job. They got it difficult, in the streets. Dudes don't want to be respectful. So
Yeah.
But guess what? Who raised us?
absolutely.
But
That's how I got where I'm at.
Not to get off topic, but
That's gonna get us off
yeah,
topic.
because that's gonna not to get off topic.
I'm over here like.
But I'm saying, I'm in agreement with advocating. They doing the most important thing is bringing the homicide rate down and the shootings down.
Mm-hmm.
And the way they bring the homicides down and the shooting down, they're cracking down on the guns.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever they're going after guns 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Because guns are the main problem. So that's the priority, as you would say.
Right.
So once they eliminate the priority of the guns,
Right.
then of course the murder gonna go down. How you gonna kill somebody if you don't got a gun?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same token, who put the guns in?
Right. You read my mind, because one of the things I was going to say, you bring the National Guard in, and you got these kids that don't have the ability, they don't have these mature critical thinking skills or the ability to think critically. And so they could be thinking like, well, y'all put these guns in our community for us to use them against each other. We still got them. We'll use them against y'all. You know what I mean?
Well,
See, they got missile launchers and everything, man.
yeah, I done seen some
Grenade
guns.
launchers.
I done seen some guns I ain't never seen in my life.
Yeah, they got all kinds of stuff. And we don't have shipping companies to bring them over here. We don't have a manufacturer to manufacture them, so they're manufactured by somebody else. They're transported by somebody else. And they're placed in our community by somebody else.
I think they pass them out at the gas stations.
It seems like it.
Because I want to know how youth don't have $700 to buy or education and books and stuff. We got $700 for a gun.
Yeah.
Where did you get the money to buy a gun?
Make it make sense.
Yeah, well, they go back to that P word again, priorities. I mean,
No. They ain't got. If they had priorities, a lot of them ain't got $700.
No, what I'm saying is, it's just like in a different instance. It's just like when they say that rich people look poor people look rich. You know what I mean? Like they hustle like crazy to get them new Jordans.
Yeah, they will.
You know what I mean? So I'm thinking in terms of not disagreeing with you, but I'm thinking in terms of from another vantage point. Like that's their priority. They have guns. Like you know what I mean? Like now every time somebody get locked up, they got 8, 9, 10 guns. You can only shoot 2 guns at a time. What are you doing with more than 2?
The jail is full with gun charges.
Yeah. But the crazy part about it is that oftentimes you be saying these kids, they sit them right back out here on the box. They just had a gun.
You just had a gun.
And they don't, you know what I mean? They don't hold them until they get to like gun charge number 3.
But they making a statement. If you get caught with a gun, there's no bail off the muscle for some people.
That's the one thing Well, there's no bail out the muzzle for anybody to get caught with a gun. It should be anyway. But that's the one thing that Ivan Bates did change is that he linked up with the black dude that's the attorney general, and they started doing Al Capone style prosecution. So it's basically like they looking at everybody like they the mob. They looking at everybody like they're continuing criminal enterprise, and everybody is not a continuing criminal enterprise. And in fact, when they put those laws in effect, in the spirit of the laws, that's not what those laws was for. How they used them today, they was using them for people like Al Capone, and they was using them for like the mob, and now they just using them for like these kids are not even that organized to even be anything close to a mob.
Let me tell you about the conspiracy law. You don't have to do nothing to go to jail.
Well, we know you know that.
Yeah, you don't.
You're a subject matter expert on conspiracy.
Yeah,
That was what he said. He did a lot of time for nothing.
How much drugs you had when they locked you up?
None.
How much money you had how much money did they find when they locked you up?
Probably 15,000.
15,000. And you what? And they sent my man away for 45 years?
That's a long
No parole?
No, for nothing. So conspiracy is designed to be able to take whoever they want, whenever they want.
Right. Well, we knew they was getting up and coming up with that when they started with that remember they came up with the constructive possession?
You know
Remember we used to hide our pills, our packs behind the trees, thinking that because it wasn't on, first it was possession,
Not on you.
9 tenths of the law. Then we started hiding them in stashes, then they came up with constructive possession, where if you within 50 feet of where they found the stash, it's yours.
So
Man, so then now they come with this RICO crap, man.
No, it kind of reminds me of slavery, though. You know how when they used to go in there and get the biggest, blackest so-called Negro,
Right,
and rape him in front of his kids, his women, and beat him down in front of everybody,
Buck
and
breaking.
film.
buck breaking.
That's what the conspiracy law do. We can go in and get anybody we want, and we're gonna tell you we're gonna give you 30 years if you don't tell on him. So what they do is try to get the strongest masculine man in the hood and get him to tell to break him down. So it's like it's
Like a mental break.
It's repetitive for the cycle, but in a different fashion.
Yeah.
Right.
So the whole objective is to break your males down.
Mm-hmm.
So they can say you look up to him. He told on 50 guys in the hood.
And they gonna come through there and say it.
Well, we say it right now today.
Yeah.
So you was looking up to him.
It's crazy. It's crazy
did.
that you brought that example, that you mentioned that, because we see that's what's happening right now in Atlanta.
Right.
Like everything that Young Thug said when he was locked up on the phone is being leaked.
Because they want to break him down.
So who the hell was leaking it? Well, you and I know who's leaking it. Well, who the hell was leaking it? Now, can't nobody say that's no TMZ. Can't nobody say that that's no kind of journalistic outlet, because the number one thing, no, they can get it, but the number one thing that you would see when you see it is you're going to see that watermark on it, so that you know that it's theirs, because they advertising, we can get the information that nobody else can get. Like, for instance, if that was come from TMZ, all you would see on it is TMZ at the bottom. But when you see it, you don't see nothing on it. So you know ain't nobody taking credit for it. So where is it coming from?
The government.
It's coming from the government. And it's just like what he just said. It's a prime example
I'm gonna show
of what he said. Y'all looking up to him? Oh, so y'all think he the man? Oh, all right. Well, let me show you what he really is. And y'all watching?
Wow.
Watch us bend him over. All right, spread them. But they doing it mentally. But matter of fact, shit, that Young Thug said they doing it physically down there now.
Physically and mentally.
Yeah, that the government when they bent him over the barrel and doing it to him mentally, he just went out there and just put everybody out there. Said all up down there, they doing it physically. Lil Baby and all that, man. Yeah, he said
but
that.
do you see Young Thug's spirit after he's just been exposed to being broke down by the government?
Right,
he's not the same person.
It's like he's been broken.
They broke him like they wanted to break him.
I was going to say what they set out to do.
Like the man so broke, he was like, man, the dude, he was doing an interview, the dude was saying something to him about, man, that's life in prison. He was talking about whoop-de-doo. That's why when you say whoop-de-doo, I was like, huh, whoop-de-doo? He said, whoop-de-doo, the life in prison. Ain't nobody, you definitely not in your right frame of mind when you talking about whoop-de-doo to life in prison.
Yeah.
When you talking about whoop-de-doo to 1 day in prison, you're not thinking right, because 1 day in prison could be death or the rest of your life, because you don't know what could happen in that 1 day. If you're a stand-up dude, if you got morals and principles, you don't know what could happen. 30 minutes. You don't know what could happen in 24 hours in prison.
Right.
And that's the dangerous part about it, because you'll go in and you may not ever come out.
And so that's the whole objective, all of perpetuation of slavery. And they try to break our males down and show the community that they are running the show still with the whips. And a lot of people call them so-called crackers, but they wasn't calling them crackers because they're white. They call them crackers because they used to crack the whip.
Exactly.
Cracking the whip.
And so when you call a person a cracker, you don't even know what you call them.
Right.
All you call them is a whip cracker.
You giving them
Then you
the
giving them power.
ammunition over.
So
Right,
be
yeah,
careful.
yeah.
Words
I
are
have an
powerful. Be
anonymous
careful
question.
what you say.
Yeah, you had people talking about saltine crackers, the saltine crackers. Like,
No, they talking
They
about
so-
cracker.
no, they
can
talk
crack
about
the
Crack,
that
crack,
whip
crack.
when it cracks.
So you giving them the title
You
of
giving
what
them
they,
power over you.
Right.
of what they say they are.
Right, but definitely words definitely have power. What you want to add something, Ms. Vicky?
Somebody sent an anonymous question. They said, I know you saying we don't need National Guard, but do you think it will help?
Do I think the National Guard will help?
Yes.
I think
I think it's
I think it would be I think it would be a small help. I don't think it would be the assistance or the help that people think that it would be. But anytime that there's a law enforcement presence, it's gonna be some minor changes. It's gonna be some alterations to the everyday activity. So just based on that, it's some benefit to it. But I believe that our community is our responsibility.
Can I say something?
So you don't think the National Guard will make a difference?
I think.
Yeah, I think they would.
Okay,
make a
I just
difference,
want
but
the
I don't
person
think
to
they would
get
make the
their
difference that
question
people would think that they would make.
Okay.
But absolutely, I think they make.
I think it would make a difference, but only a temporary difference because I think it'd be a band-aid over a problem because drugs gonna be sold no matter who coming in.
Like a Band-Aid over bullet.
So with drugs bring violence, with violence brings problems.
More violence.
And so they gonna sell it, but it would bring it down to a minimum at best. And then when they leave, you're gonna start right back up again.
Yeah.
But the problem is being able to close these borders off, stop the drugs from flowing into the United States. How? Don't ask me how.
I was going to
They
say,
know what? The same people we asking to stop is the same people that's allowing them to come in.
Because one thing I know about Baltimore in general, everybody's on the tape. National Guard come in, you got somebody on the National Guard who might be on the tape.
yeah.
So money is the root of all evil. So by money being thrown around in different situations, different scenarios, I believe you'll clean up the community faster throwing money around than bringing the National Guard in. Because if you throw the money in the right people's hands, they're gonna make sure the neighborhood is cleaned up.
Yeah.
I think that the and the reason why I say it'll be an incremental benefit, just a small benefit to the National Guard's presence, is based on their presence. So they're gonna alter the everyday activities that normally go on in that particular environment wherever they at. But I think it's like a temporary approach. They're not gonna be here permanently.
And they do come here, they ain't gonna work. But Kent Hill, Fells Point, places that already have policing.
Harbor East.
Harbor East.
So what happens when they leave? Because the National Guard not gonna be here
They're not going
permanently.
to stay here.
So when they leave, what's the solution at that point? And that's my question. So yes, I believe that there's some benefit to bringing it in the National Guard. Yes, I believe there's some benefit to having a federal presence temporarily because, like I said, it alters the everyday activity just with their presence. But what happens when they leave? Because that's not the permanent solution. That's like a short-term fix. Like you said, that's like a Band-Aid. So what happens when the Band-Aid is gone? So how do we deal with whatever issue that we brought the National Guard and the federal presence in for? How do we deal with those issues once they're gone?
Once they're gone, because they're
Yeah,
not
so
going
it's
to
like a temporary fix.
That's when you throw your money around. When they leave, you throw your money around to keep it going. So now you don't have. Then now when the National Guard clean it up, then you throw your money around, bring your safe streets in, your clocks, your O's in, and then stuff will start changing.
I was going to get.
Maybe it'll balance it out.
They expound on what you meant by throwing the money around, because you have people thinking like, what?
No.
They're thinking like a helicopter and money just dropping out the sky. So,
No. I'm talking about bringing in different organizations to make things positive in the neighborhood. get the kids something to do, get the people something to do after the National Guard clean it up. Because if you clean something up and still don't give them nothing to do, or the people to still govern it, what happens? If you cut the grass, 4 days later, the grass will grow again.
Gonna grow right back.
So if you don't keep cutting the grass, it's gonna keep growing back. So if you don't keep taking the National Guard down, put something in place of the National Guard to make stuff continue to flow in a positive way like they had it, then the grass will grow back again.
So what if they say they cutting out a lot of those programs and those community outreach people because they had to bring the National Guard, like to say they ain't doing nothing now, so what y'all gonna do later? After the National Guard goes?
But before they start cutting it out, the crime was going down. You just said it was historically at a low, and the crime was going down because you was having different
Well, they actually didn't cut their resources.
Yeah, but
That's one of the reasons why Mackenzie Frost being the mayor because he's standing firm on what he believed that his crime plan. He's standing firm on his crime plan, and he believed that his crime plan is working, and the statistics reflect that his crime plan is working. And again, you have some people that want to give the credit all to Ivan Bates because he's saying, well, it didn't turn around until he got in the office, but it's still a team approach.
Right.
You know what I mean? If it wasn't a team approach, then I mean, if the police wasn't locking them up, Ivan Bates wouldn't have anybody to prosecute. So it's a team approach. It should be a team approach to all of the issues that we. A lot of the issues that we suffer from in the city are systemic, and they're issues that have been around for a long time. And one of the things that they continuously do, especially in our community, is they give us Band-Aid solutions. And then when the Band-Aid solutions don't work, they was like, well, we tried.
But we got to get back to respecting our elders, because that made a lot of difference too. Because even though when I was coming up, we respect our elders. We see old mother and we going to commit a crime.
That'd be the one thing that make me stop.
Where did she leave? Miss So and so there.
Yeah.
And then so if you had to get a guy that was with his mother, he automatically got a pass because he was with his mother, because we respect his mother that much. That we wouldn't just go bang bang, we go on site.
Kill him and his mother.
But now,
like they do now.
Now they just, wherever I see you, I'm gonna get you.
Shit, they going
with your
out
children.
to get your mother.
Yeah, but I'm saying
we can't get you. We're going out to get your mother.
Exactly.
Make
But
you
back
come out.
my days, you spared another day because your mother was there.
Just because your mother was there. Yeah. The anonymous person came back with a reply and said, after the National Guard, then it's up to the people to police and keep it safe. When the Band-Aid is gone, we police. It's like slowing down a bleeding until you get to the doctor. National Guard is Band-Aid, and we, the people, is the doctor. Well said.
We agree. Well said.
Well said.
Anonymous, a salute. Yeah, definitely well said. I definitely agree with that sentiment. That it's a Band-Aid approach. And sort of got like what Clark said. Come in, clean it up, and then we have non-profits that's from the community, hand the funds over them to keep it going. Yeah. And so that is a long term. That's a long term approach, and that's basically my question. Okay, we bring them in, they clean it up. What happens when they leave? Because we see it a lot. We'll see a shooting here. Yeah. And for like a week, the police are sitting there on his phone with his lights on. But after a week, he gone. So all the activities that may have been altered the week that he was sitting there with his lights on, once he gone, all that stuff come back. It come right back, and it come back with a vengeance. It might come back worse than what it was before the original crime occurred when I'm sitting there.
That's why I was talking about cutting the grass, because when you cut the grass, the solution is if you don't keep cutting, it's coming back. Yeah. And so a lot of times, if we can let them clean it up and allow us to come in and keep it clean, like they try to give a basketball game on Memorial Day.
That was so crazy, man.
For the community.
Actually, the kids came up with it themselves, and they basically was playing neighborhoods in their community. They was playing against each other. Actually, the basketball court was right there on Division Street by the mosque. And so they actually had it organized and designed for a particular day, and the police came around and they shut it down. They was like, y'all ain't got no permit for this. When y'all have people, a crowd this size, you gotta have X, Y, and Z. So what they did was, they ain't give up. What they did was they went down City Hall and got X, Y, and Z. They got all the permits and everything that they were supposed to have. Matter of fact, once they got that stuff, shout out to Marvin Mack for putting that together. Once they got that stuff, DTLR stepped in. It was gonna give out prizes, gonna give out food. It was gonna come supply the music, and they also and they had an agreement for officers to come around for it to be safe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and the game was rescheduled for September the 1st. Well, on September the 1st, do you know Baltimore City put police cars on that basketball court and told them kids that they could not have
even with their permits.
Said they could not have that community event. And if it was not for the older people in the community that was that those kids respected, it might have been actually on both days.
Mm-hmm.
It was the older people in the community that was like, all right, then well, let us talk to them. Tell the kids, hold on, calm down. We know this. Yeah, this our community. We know y'all put that together.
Mm-hmm.
Let us talk to them and see how we can make this happen. And then that's how they got the information about y'all need to permit and the different things that they need to do to have the actual event. And so what the kids did, they went and they, with the help of the older guys in the community, they went and got all those things that they needed to have the event on September the 1st. DCL got involved, and do you know, on September the 1st, Baltimore City Police said that they ain't have enough police to protect the area, and they ain't have no police to protect the area, but they put police cars on the basketball court to stop the kids from playing, but they ain't have enough police for the area to protect the area. Now the crazy part about it is that let them have a high profile crime, like a murder, somebody that's popular in the community. At the viewing and the funeral, they're gonna have 99 police there. So if we could get police at viewings and funerals to prevent crime or to prevent violence, this was a community event that was initiated, organized by the community, by the younger guys in the community. Again, shout out to you, Marv Mack. Put that together, went down there, got the permits, and the city still pulled their pants down and gave their ass the kiss.
My thing is this: there's always a cause and effect.
Yeah.
The cause was you didn't let us play basketball. The effect was how much crime happened that day. Because now you got all these kids with nothing to do.
And they
agitated.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and they upset.
So now you took
That's
what
how
could have been a
that
crime-free
riot
day,
started.
having them playing basketball because it changed the scenario, the way people think. We're gonna do this every day or every week. So putting them back out the street to do nothing.
You kindly snatched this away from them.
But you want them to be kids. You want them to be kids.
Yeah.
Because when I was growing up, it was a big thing to play against different neighborhoods in football and basketball.
Yes.
So we could talk trash.
Right.
We whipped Murphy Holmes' ass, or we whipped Lexington Terrace's ass, or we whipped, you know what I mean? That was the thing.
Jackson.
Yeah.
So now we set it up where the kids can compete against each other so they can have some trash talking going or have something to do.
Something positive.
Now you send them back in the streets to have something negative to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the crate, because I got insider information. This is not stock, so I ain't going to jail for it.
Mm-hmm.
But it started with just their little community. They had 6 teams in their little community. They had the 1500 Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
They had McCullough Homes. They had Lexington Terrace. So they had 6 teams just from one community. And what they were saying was, what we're going to do is we're going to start expanding it. And what they was going to do is they was going to start playing against other communities in different parts of the city.
Right. Same thing Ice Cube did. Yeah.
And they created, they organized it, and the city gave them their ass and told them no, they couldn't do it. So I've been talking to them about it. They kind of discouraged. They was like, oh man,
but you want crime to stop.
Right.
Because they always say give them something to do. They found their own something to do.
And they created it, organized it, and did it the proper way, went and got permits and everything, and
still shut them down.
They still shut it down.
Because when I stopped playing sports, that's when violence started and crime started. Because I had nothing to do.
Right.
Yeah.
But as long as I was playing basketball every day, football every day, I never thought about breaking law or doing nothing crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It gave me something to do. But once I stopped doing all that, Then I started hanging with him.
Oh, wow.
Nope.
Right after that, that was it. Once you met this sucker.
Now, see, I was gonna give him a pass when he said when he stopped doing sports that he was Gucci. And
That was eating at
it
you.
was the idle
That was
mind.
eating at you.
It
You
was
was
the
gonna get
idle
him
mind.
before that.
That was the devil workshop. Me just sitting there, I didn't know what to do, so I just let me get a girl and go shoot somebody. Well, the brother shot somebody playing basketball before, so don't let him take you. Don't let him take you.
But it kind of go like that.
But
I mean,
certain
but
instance.
it was on a basketball court. But the man, I mean, we've grown and developed
Oh, God,
to the
this
point where
man is something
we can
else.
laugh and joke about these kind of things.
Yeah.
And, you know, at one time, you know, I remember one time it was an older guy in prison and he was talking to me. It was a big homie from down the way, and I just got in the old jail and he was like, "Man, you gonna be alright, this, that, and the third." He's like, "Man, you gonna look back on this when you get home, you gonna laugh about this."
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at him with straight face. I was
Never.
like, "Man, I don't find nothing about this old jail that I don't be laughing about." But now in hindsight, you know, decades later, and I look back on it, it was a whole bunch of funny shit that used to occur. You know what I mean? When, you know, when
You
we
were
was,
finna.
yeah. Shit, that's all we did. We was bunk buddies, laughed and joked all day. You told us we was locked out.
I'm gonna read this comment over here on YouTube. First, shout out to Rodney Pierce watching. He came up on the YouTube screen. He did come up on the Facebook screen. He said, they don't want positive black images. It's against the narrative of black independence and governance.
Man, I agree.
I agree.
Yes. Because if they feel like that, we already have a dominant presence of being around certain cultures anyway. And so if they can try to alter that and change the mindset of how people look at us, then it's then.
I take it a step further. It's not that we appear dominant. We are dominant. Our genes are dominant. Everything. We are dominant. And they know that we. And the crazy part about it is that they know we dominant.
Yeah.
They know we dominant. That's why they do the things they do to try to keep their foot on our neck. Because what they don't, the way that they think is that if we was to ever be in the position that they in, if things was to flip, that we would treat them the same way that they treated us. But it's not even in our nature to do that.
It's not even.
That's not in our nature.
We just want to be on top because we know what we want to run and how.
What you'll hear
we
white
want
people
to.
talk about, they'll talk about, well, in Africa, y'all had slavery.
Mm-hmm.
And we did, but it was a different kind of slavery. Like, we had indentured slavery. If you do your African history, we had indentured slavery where it was like two tribes. They was fighting, and the tribe took over the other tribe. They won in the war, of course. That's where the booty come from. That was the booty, the bounty, what they took.
Mm-hmm.
They took everything, you know. But they gave you an opportunity
to work your way back into freedom.
to earn your freedom. And that was the difference between the slavery that occurred in ancient Africa and the slavery that occurred once they got over here on these shores.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes you'll hear white people say, well, y'all sold yourself, y'all sold other Africans. Africans sold Africans into slavery. And that's true too. But they sold them into slavery with the mindset that they thought that they were going to have the opportunity, that they was going to treat them the way that they treated their slaves.
Yeah,
that
but
you
it
had
wasn't.
the opportunity to win or gain your freedom. And it was just, it was perpetual slavery here. So basically, if you didn't kill them or cut your foot off to get out the chain, you was going to be there forever.
Yeah.
So that's the difference in the two. And oftentimes you'll hear people talk about that.
We passed out time, but I just want to say real quick that Anonymous was Dennis. He said he was going to go ahead and say his name because you probably already know.
That's my guy. I love all my nephews. Let me give a shout out to my nephew Dennis. Let me give a shout out to my nephew Boo. He just came home.
Okay.
I love all my nephews. I need everybody to tune in. We need all your eyes. We need all your ears.
Yes.
Like, share, and subscribe. It's the Humble Boys, Humble Hustlers, Clark and Big O. Holla.
Peace out.
Keep still.